is Clint Carter. I am the dumb old dad, and I'm bringing you another video. And today I am going to be doing an interview with one of my new friends on the internet. Her name is Jan Newell. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Clint.
Well, good. I'm glad to have you here. You did an interview with me. I don't know how long has it been now? A couple of
About a
weeks,
month
maybe
ago.
maybe a month or so. I can't remember. But we talked about my story, about my cancer story, and as we talked during that meeting, I mentioned that hey, I would love to interview you and know about your story and about what has happened to you. And so this is my chance to um, thank you for the interview that you did and talk to you about your cancer story or your story. I don't even know if it's a cancer story. And have you give us a little bit of your story about what happened to you and where you came from and all that stuff. So I appreciate you coming online with us. So I
Yes,
thought
sure.
the first thing I thought I would ask you is, are you currently on a plant-based diet?
Absolutely 100% plant based. 100% plant based. And very, very, I no longer eat meat. I might have a little bit fish, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, maybe once a month, just tiny little bit. That's it. Um, yeah, 100% plant based, organic.
Okay, how about sugar, salt, and oil?
No sugar, no salt, oil, only flax seeds oil that I take roughly about 1 tablespoon. Usually I use that on my salad dressing as part of my salad dressing.
Okay. I do the same. I use the flaxseed oil, and I use it for any of the stuff that usually a recipe calls for oil. I'll use
Mhm.
that flaxseed oil, and I'll only use a little bit. I won't like fry stuff in it.
No,
And
except for cooking.
so
Correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too.
and I have over time done some research on flaxseed, and it is a crazy nutritious and important part of a healthy diet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love the taste. I think take a little while to get used to it, but once you get used to it, it's actually provide a little mild flavor.
Yes.
I love the taste. Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. So do you just buy your flaxseed oil in just a small bottle, or do you make it your own, or how do you do that?
I just go to Whole Food to buy the big bottle.
Buy the big bottle? Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So the next question is, why did you go on a plant-based diet?
I go plant-based diet is completely from my cancer healing journey. I was diagnosed with breast cancer about 2.5 years ago, and at that very moment, I truly believe in order to change your physical being, to heal disease, we have to change the way we live. And after my extensive research, I realized what we eat has so much impact on our physical health. And I decided to switch to completely, especially during the 2 years of healing journey, completely cut out animal meat, completely cut out sugar, completely cut out salt and oil, and on strict Gerson therapy diet, and had done wonders for me. And I not only I healed, I also lost 45 pounds, and my allergy disappeared, my energy returned, my mental alertness returned. I just have so much joy for life. And I think it's just wonderful. When you eat well, not only you feel better, but you emotionally feel alive.
How did you find out about Gerson therapy?
Oh, I did an online search. Nowadays, everything, like a Google, Dr. Google or Dr. YouTube. I did an online search. And so I look at the many holistic healing protocols. And I start to realize for all the holistic healing protocol, there's a very common element in there, which is diet. And then when I trace back how the diet and impact on the body, how can we flood our body with nutrients, how can we remove toxins, and I realized, yep, Gerson therapy is the one I'm going to pursue. And
So you saw that there are a number of books out there and a number of studies, and there's lots of different stuff out there. So what was it about the Gerson therapy that gave you the, deciding factor to say, this is what I'm doing?
the deciding factors is more I would say more overall holistic, dressing the whole body. It's not just the, sometimes people say, oh, you take this, the one item, right? Or you do this. I felt like this is a overall to rejuvenate the whole body. It's just this theory. The more I read to it, the more I resonate with what they say, and my belief just getting stronger and stronger. I think to heal from anything, you got to believe what you do. And I was believing in the system so much. It's not from someone telling me, but rather from my own research. And I read the books and take a look at the tutorial, the videos, and going through my own thinking process. Yes, and I
So did you follow any of the normal medical doctors' advice, or did you just do this only that?
I did what I did. I did the surgery.
Okay.
I did the surgery to remove the lump right after it was diagnosed. And after that, because the type of cancer I had was very aggressive, and so they recommend chemo and not radiation, but they definitely recommend chemo. At that point, I go like, I need to making sure I'm making the right decision for me, and so that's when I started to do research and look into it and decide to take a different path.
So did you do the chemotherapy?
No.
Okay.
Hmm.
And what did your doctor think about that?
Well, unfortunately, I have to change doctor because my family doctor did not believe it. My oncologist did not believe it. It just every time I go visit, I have a very negative environment. It just even though I say I believe in the system, I believe in Gerson therapy, but when you were in a situation, you were vulnerable, right? You are vulnerable. It's very
Yeah.
vulnerable with the environment. So I felt like every time I go visit, my belief system get big shock.
Yeah.
So through word of mouth, I was able to find a supportive oncologist to work
Oh,
with me, and that was very, very lucky, and I feel very blessed for that
well, that's
support.
great. So
Mhm.
so how long ago did you go on the plant-based diet with Gerson therapy?
Uh, since January 2018. It's about two and a
20.
half years ago. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, and I know that it usually talks about a 2-year period of being on the Gerson therapy. Is that what you did?
Yes, yes. I around 20 months. All the test result report coming back, all the blood tests, the imaging, all come back and clear. So I was able to graduate. I say to graduate from full protocol to protocol. So meaning I drink less juice. I do less number of animals, and I'm able to venture out eating some other food, and my food were not as restricted. Hmm.
And, that must have been I mean, at what point did you feel like I mean, because I know when I went through it, there was a lot of disappointment and feeling like it's not worth it and it's not gonna work. So at what point did you feel, "I think this is working"?
To be honest, from day one, I felt like that.
Oh, you
I
did?
always, I did. I always imagine. I go like, how can I now get better? I eat clean food. I drink clean water. I detox my mind. I do deep breathing. I go out, get fresh air. I'm thinking it's not even possible now get well. So I always have the image in my head. I'm just getting well every single day.
Well,
Which,
I know that, when I was going through, my cancer, experience, um, there is a mental part of it. And I remember reading books and books and books that it's not just the food. It
No.
is mental, it is spiritual. There's so many more facets to it that you have got to get rid of anger, you've got to get rid of fear, you've just gotta release all this stuff. And, I went back and watched some of your videos on your YouTube channel and, saw that you have talked about those exact things, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Um, so the next question I had for you is, what were the hardest things for you to give up? I mean, when you were going through this and you were giving up all of the sugar and all the salt and all the things, was there something that you're just like, "Oh, this was the hardest thing for me."
Um,
For me, it was cookies.
oh, for you two cookies. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me see. What is the hardest thing? It's a funny thing that actually, in terms of giving up diet, what I used to eat was not hard for me. That's not the hardest part. The hardest part is, as you mentioned earlier, the hardest part for me is actually doing emotional healing. Because a lot of things you don't realize where are a lot of things that you bury really deep.
Yeah.
You thought it's never really, I buried it. I don't see it. I don't look at it. It do not exist. It will no longer impact me. But as a matter of fact, it still continue to impact you until you actually address it. So my hardest part is to open up the past wounds and start to face it, start to address it. And I had a lot of tears, a lot of think and talk to, and really going through that emotional healing to let that blockage, to let that go. And also, I think it's as your body to heal, as you're eating nutritious food, your emotion, your physical emotion start releasing all those toxins, those past injuries and past bitterness start to come up regardless, even you don't want to, it start to come up surface. And to address that, I think that's the hard part. That's very
So
that's
so how did you navigate through that? When I was going through that, I used a counselor, and I would go and I would talk with a counselor to kind of release some of these things that were going through my head. And, so what did you do? How did you navigate that emotional side?
um one thing I did is I saw this Reiki practitioner, and she was able to just as she was doing the Reiki session with me, and start to gently talking to me, basically to provide me a very safe, comforting environment. So I'm able to talk through my fears, talk through my, uh, the things that holding me back, that talk through those things. I find is very healing. And another thing I find is very healing is really, for me, is to go to God. And to be surrounded people who are believers, and reading those scriptures, and really thinking, how does that apply to me? What are the things I should have done differently? Now is an opportunity to address it. And using that as a guide, I find is very, very helpful for me. Hmm.
Okay, very good. So, what would you say would, if somebody is going through this same thing, what would make the transition easier into this new holistic food and mental and spiritual side? What would you say would make that transition a little easier?
I think making transition a little easier for me is to know. Let me see how I can articulate better. Is that don't look at what you're giving up, and look what you are gaining. And then knowing that unless we make the change, nothing is going to change. If we want to get well, we have to be able to change things. So sometimes people say, "Oh, that made it sound like it's my fault." To be honest, I do think it's my fault. Not necessarily I did it myself purposely, is the way I live, is how I conduct my life, and that are stress, that are not enough nutrition, and busy, busy, busy. We can always go back and look at what things we could have done differently. But it's not to place blame, but rather knowing we do have the power to make the change. And unless we change, nothing's going to change. And we have the power to do it. And this is the opportunity for us to do that. And until we make the change, things start to get better and we are even more empowered. I think just that belief, anything is possible. A lot of times things you like and dislike is inquired. For example, no one actually like coffee when you first time drink it, right? So and then so if you don't like to drink the green juice, don't like the vegetable, try it long enough, you will like it. I guarantee it. I love my green now, but I didn't before.
Yeah. So, I one of the things that I thought about while I was putting this interview together was, for me, the thing that makes a transition a little bit easier is a support group. And if
Mm,
you can just find one other person or a couple of people that have been through it and you can bounce ideas off of and say, I'm feeling this and this is my struggle. And just knowing there's somebody else struggling with you, it's a huge benefit to help you keep going because there'll be times, and I remember feeling it like, this isn't working. I don't feel like this is working. And am I just really dumb? Am I, am I naive to think that this is really going to work? But so if you're in that situation, I would say I would try and find people that you would maybe are in the same situation, maybe has been through it before, that might help you to transition through this situation.
it's very, very important to surround yourself with the people who can support you, who can, even they don't understand the therapy, or if they do not agree with your choice,
Right.
but if they can just support you in the quiet way, right? They
Yeah.
don't have to agree to support.
Right.
um, but you certainly don't want people to say negative things and discouraging things. um,
That's very true. All right, the
yeah.
next question that I had, was what health benefits have you seen? I know that you've talked about your husband a little bit, so and it sounds like he, went along with you on this, journey, and so tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my husband and his family, they are Western medicine because my father-in-law is a Western family doctor. So when I first choose to go on this path, basically I tell my family, regardless you agree, disagree, the best support I need is just let me do what I do. And if you can help out whatever you can, that'd be awesome. Okay, so he was quietly supporting, but he is not at all convinced this is something that he would do, right? But
Right.
he knows when I made my decision, this is what I'm going to do. Basically, quietly supporting, and initially just for the convenience of preparing meal, and he's slowly getting rid of other things that I don't eat. So he's slowly changing his diet, and then he started experiencing positive results. He started losing weight. He started feeling better, and now just at that very time he was diagnosed with a gout, a joint pain. It's a very severe joint pain because he loved to play sports, and he was always in agony with the sports, and also high blood pressure. He was on high blood pressure medication. So as he was on plant-based diet, more and more gravitated toward plant-based diet. I would say probably around 6 months time, joint pain disappeared.
Hmm.
He went back, did another blood test, the gout number all fall within normal. So now he become a more and more believer. And then he started working on his blood pressure. He started drinking juice with me. He would drink 2 cups a day. And then with a plant-based change, and that took about a year, he's get off the medication.
Hmm.
So he's a believer. Yes.
Wow, so he is off blood pressure medication as well.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
And for
Hmm.
you?
I don't have any medication. I'm totally healthy. Yeah. So I actually healthier than ever before. I can run 45 minutes, no stop. Oh my gosh, I haven't done that. I haven't been able to do that for the last 15 years. I think just the fact that I lost 45 pounds, that helps.
Well, that's interesting you say that because, I lost 50 pounds. And
Wow.
I didn't feel like I needed to lose any weight, but it just started coming off. It started
It's
coming
just
off.
coming up.
It does. I
Hmm.
mean, it wasn't that was trying to lose weight. It wasn't that I was trying to starve myself or anything. I wasn't starving myself. I was eating as much as I wanted to. But, yeah, I've kinda settled in now that I've lost around 50 pounds. It's more or less 50 pounds.
You look great. You look great.
But yeah, no, and I feel good, and, I'm now to the point where I am feeling the need to go and do some exercise, so I think
Mm.
I'm gonna start adding exercise to my program where I mean, it'll surprise people, but, it was j strictly what I was eating. I didn't go exercise to lose this weight, it was just the food.
No, no.
So,
Yes,
I
yes,
remember
yes.
feeling a point where felt like I should exercise, and I looked up, in the Gerson Therapy book, and it says, "You need to use that energy to heal.
For
So
healing.
do
Hmm.
not burn that extra energy for anything else, but use it to heal." And so that's what I
Yes,
did. I didn't exercise,
yes,
so
yes. Now I can confidently tell people if you want to lose weight, the best thing is to change your diet.
yep,
Yeah.
totally agree.
You can't even stop it losing.
We're almost to the end here. I wanted
Yes.
to talk about your YouTube channel for a second. I'm going to leave some links down in the description to Jan's YouTube channel so you can go and subscribe to her channel. You can watch some of the videos she's posting. I really like the videos. She does interviews just like this with other people, and she talks about her own experience. So I would totally recommend going to her channel and subscribing to her channel. I wanted in the final minutes here talk about I think you feel it as much as I do is I've got to share this information with people. I have got to get this information out to people so they know there's hope. So can you talk about I know that you feel that need because you've started this channel and you're doing it. Tell me about that part of your journey.
Yes. I during my darkest days, it's funny how when I going through toughest days, that's why I think about how I can help other people, because that's why I need help the most. I said would be, I always thinking to myself, when I healed, I'm going to share this, my experience with other people, so they don't have to gone through what I gone through. They don't have to suffer and being fearful as I was suffering and be what I was fearful. So so I have this innate desire to share what I know. I don't know everything, but what I do know, I like to share with people, at least to give them a different window of a view on things. Just maybe from my experience, I can help another person. Just maybe because what I did, the other person will open to try something new. And it's my way of pay forward because other people's video reconfirmed my belief in the therapy, allow me to embark on this holistic healing journey. So I like to do the same for others.
Yeah, I felt the exact same thing, and I started trying to look at ways that I could share, and, one of those is that I'm gonna create I'm hoping, I don't know with this virus problem now, whether I'll be able to do it, but I wanna create this, vegetarian food festival and just let people know what is available and what you can do, and that if you are struggling with I mean, it eating healthy is not just a cancer thing. It can be
No,
for heart disease, it can be for, um, any other debilitating disease. Um, it can help you recover, and it can help you get over, some of these diseases. One of them is stroke, one of them is heart disease, one of them is diabetes. I mean, all those things, if you are willing to change your diet, you will see amazing results. So go ahead.
And not only that, not only will benefit people who already started experiencing chronic illness symptoms, but also just for regular folks. When you eat well, you really have a clear mind. Your emotional capacity increased, and also your emotional well-being increased. You feel so much at ease. You actually make you feel good. When you feel good, you feel at ease. You have better relationships. You have better relationship with yourself, with the people around you. You have a much positive outlook to life. It's just because when you eat well, you feel well. And then another thing is, our physical health is not only for today. We are here for 80, 100 years. Like especially when we're young, the how we take care of our body, just like how we take care of our car, will determine how long the car gonna work for you, right? So we need to take care of our body today. Everything we eat is either enhance our health or take our health away. So yes.
I totally agree. And I really thank you for coming on with me. I think we've had a really great discussion. Maybe we should have another discussion because each one of these topics, I'm just like, oh, I could talk about this. So we could talk about this. I could ask her about this. So I've got, tons of more questions that come up. But just know that if you are struggling out there with some type of a chronic illness, that there are solutions out there in, I hate to say holistic because I don't want it to sound, I don't know, hocus pocus or magic or something. It's not magic. You definitely have to work hard at it and you have to do it the right way. But there are ways that you can have your body be healthy. And the thing that I kept thinking was, I want my body as healthy as it can be. I want my immune system as healthy as it can be, so my body can fight back.
And I just want to add more. Not only healthy, but enjoy the plant-based whole food is very tasty. It's very tasty. It's just a matter of getting used to it.
Yeah.
And another thing is stop people from switch to plant-based because we haven't eat that way. We don't know how to prepare the food. Initially, it will take a lot longer time to get used to it. But once you get habit, it's actually very simple, save time. We eat simple, tasty, delicious food, and that health that good for us.
Yep. Yep. Well, this has been great. I've really enjoyed our talk today. I'm super glad that you came on with me today. And I don't know, maybe we'll do another interview later on, maybe on your channel or maybe on mine. I don't know. Anyway, I will leave links down in the description to Jan's channel and I don't maybe some of the books that we have read and learned about. So just know that if you are struggling out there, just be aware that there are options out there and there is hope. And I think
Uh,
that's the biggest thing because when you get a cancer diagnosis, you lose a lot of hope. But there is hope out there for you if you're willing to go after it and try it. So thanks again for coming on my channel, and we'll see you all next time on Dumb Old Dad.
Thank you for having.
Bye.
Bye bye. How does it work? Here.
Okay, it's done. All right.